So with all the stuff you have to machine, you also have to make sure it's good. So we kind of have a plethora of people in here at the moment, but we have some different machines that are actually checking the features, so make sure the hole's in the right place.
All the tolerances are
all
right.
the tolerances are correct. So Schwaz over there, he's actually checking a part.
And it records it all on the computer.
Yeah, so you can add it to the computer, make sure that it'll give it feedback and make sure it's in the right place.
So this is the quality control room.
Exactly. Got some regular grand table, and then this is actually a CNC operated CMM. So you can actually check the features automatically.
And then it actually records it on the screen, huh?
Yep. These are
duplicates the picture, if you will.
Yep.
And what kind of training did you have to do to learn how to work this?
I went to, they gave, when we got this, they made a couple programs for us to make it kind of a turnkey thing. So then I went to productivity and they gave me a week-long kind of starter course to understand what this
right.
program does. And then from there I've gone back for another week of training to kind of learn some stuff, and even still I'm a little foggy on a lot of stuff. I mean, going from brand new, not knowing anything about inspection or any of this, I'd still say, I don't know, I probably got another 6 months before I really feel like I got my feet.
Did you go to school to do this type of work? No?
I just went to a couple of training.
Sure.
This is a very complex machine. So
Well, it looks like it. That's why I was wondering
steep learning curve.
if there's training.
Luke does really well with
machine,
this stuff.
the machine is one thing, but really the principles behind inspection are so much more. That's what's really important here.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
Like an operating room, huh?
Yeah. These are called machines that do grinding. They grind the tops of parts. I don't see any parts sitting here that would be. These are spring tester parts. And you put them in the machine and then it smooths the top. And what you really want to do is get them as flat as possible. When we're working with load cells, we want this to be extremely parallel.
What kind of a tolerance do you have on that?
This one is 5 10,000.
So I mean,
it's got to be very close.
pretty flat.
So take you back to the lathe area, and then we can go over to the other building and kind of see the finished side of stuff. Turning machines, so they spin the material, and that's how they machine them. So there's something going on in there.
This is all for the spring tester here?
This is actually gun part. These are for sights, gun sights. So
What do you got over here?
these are muzzle brakes for guns too. These go on the end of a barrel.
yeah, that's cool.
Now, do people contact you guys, or do you have to bid, or do you go?
We have a salesperson that reaches out to people.
Okay.
And some of our stuff's word of mouth too, so a little bit of both.
But I mean, there's a network of people who are looking at stuff done. And
absolutely. There's another machine that's similar, a little bit larger machine for some of the larger stuff. But yeah, so these are. I can actually put bars of material in the back of this thing, like a bunch of bars.
Is that where we started?
Like these, and then this will roll down and it'll refeed new parts. So this is a very automated style of machining where you can load it up with 20, 30 bars and it'll run all night. We got to make sure the tolerances stay right, but it's very automated. It has a little parts conveyor, so when it's done with the part, it spits it out, puts it on a track, and takes it out.
Now you have to have someone overseeing stuff here, because if something happens, they got to stop it, shut it down.
And inspection is really critical. As tools wear out, it changes the dimension, so you have to keep making sure everything stays in print.
So as much as you want to say it's fully automated, you still have to have the human involved.
Very much. It takes a higher level, really. You have to have somebody that's a little more clever. They can deal with programming on that stuff, and so yeah.
Aware.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
I'm live filming. Also, I feel like I'm blind because I'm not watching my feet.
This is a forming machine, so you can put a piece of sheet metal in here, and it's 100,000
So a
power
brake,
press
metal
brake.
brake,
Yep.
press brake.
Press brake, exactly. It's CNC operated, so the stuff moves on its own. But
Check it out. That's what they're doing with the
Yeah.
water jet. See the dog paws on there?
so this is some of the finished kennel stuff.
Dog bones.
We've got a sales department right behind us. They deal with all the
Now are
pet
they?
sales.
Now are they? There's people reaching out to them via email, or they're reaching
Yep.
out to people.
We've got
And
marketing. We've got website stuff, Facebook, all sorts of different things. So recontacting customers that are customers of the past. That's a really important thing we do. We have a lot of repeat business, so it's a big portion.
yeah, it's pretty crazy, Matt.
Isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it's not what I had imagined when you've talked about it, right?
Yeah, it's hard to describe. That's why I was like, just come down for a tour. We can. So the things when they come back after finishing, this is where they go.
Okay.
So assembly, calibration. I have a little maintenance department over here too. So. So this is the area where we do our shipping and receiving. So we've got a full-time shipping and receiving.
Now, is this for the kennels, for the guns?
Kennels, anything, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
see, look at this stuff. Gates and...
Yeah, nice gauge.
So do you do
Yep.
this? Do you do this stuff for like private people at their homes who want like super nice kennels?
Very occasionally, not
Okay.
very often. Yeah.
Like I think I would have to.
Surprisingly, not as much.
These are for cats
Yeah,
or dogs
cats
or whatever.
small dogs.
Yeah.
So you might see this at like a veterinarian or something.
Yep.
These are our calibration labs. So after a spring tester's been built, assembled, goes in a calibration lab, and then we qualify it. So we make sure that it reads perfectly, length and force. So
Does it take like a day to go through one, or more time than that?
no, probably it's a number of hours after it's already gone through the
Sure.
other parts. So this is the kennel assembly area. So the parts come in here, we put them on the shelf nicely, and then they assemble the stuff, put it on pallets, and then it goes to the next place.
So are there not a lot of people working on Fridays, even
No.
over here?
No.
Okay, that's always been kind of your policy.
Well, quite a few people. People like to take Friday off. That's just
Sure.
That's the deal. This is you probably would get a kick out of this tester. I know Mike's working on this right now, but this is one of our larger spring testing machines. So this will do 36-inch tall, 18-inch diameter, and up to 50,000 pounds of force.
Wow.
So
Now, did you guys build like even the spiral things there?
so these are ball screws.
Okay.
We actually purchased the ball screw. That's one of the purchase parts. But we do machine all the bases. We machine all the parts.
Wow.
90% of this tester has been done in-house. So Mike's our software engineer. He's kind of doing some programming as a new tester. So those are warming up. So we actually warm them up, make sure that it's a very technical process. So we let the load cells and electronics make sure they're at room temperature, warmed up nice, and we let them run. We also do a check off to make sure that they stay running after a long period of time.
So like, what does that mean? Like for days, months, years, or
Just
hours?
days. I mean, we've done testing on days and years, but these we just make sure they run for at least 24 hours
I got
for
ya.
sure. But we'll go to the assembly areas over here. So they start to bring parts in to assemble.
Is this where most of the spring testing assembly goes on?
Yes. So this is kind of our spring tester assembly area. So you can see here they're assembling hand testers right now.
Do you guys have to send all this out to have it cast?
So yeah, so we have a cast person that does the cast for us, and then we machine them. We have somebody do the painting as well. So that large machine with the 12 pallets, that does like these different parts, and because there's lots of different parts, we can put parts on there, and we can run them when we want and stop running when we don't want. So that's one of the nice things about that machine. But these are, this is a VST 1500 right here. This is what most engine builders would buy. So in the assembly area. So this will do up to 1,500 pounds of force. The stroke is about 6 inches, and the platform is 2 inches. So really good for valve springs.
Now this is a completed one.
Yeah, this is a a force only. So we do a lot of different types of things, but this is a force only. This is a maximum of 2 pounds. So if you so much as bumped your finger too hard on that one, you break this load cell. So when you're at a low weight load cell, it reads very detailed. So it's always important to pick out the load cell that you want for the situation.
What's a load cell look like? Like that little aluminum thing there?
That's a twisting one, yeah. I don't know. This is a load cell here. So we make these in-house, and they have something they call strain gauge on them. And what happens is, as this thing actually deflects, it creates a different voltage across the wires, and that actually gives you different readings. So as it stretches more, it changes the resistance, and then you have to program the rest of it.
So how would this be sitting in there if you're pushing down on this?
Yeah, so they're...
Because I'm assuming you're talking like, you know,
So
this
yeah,
is
you
pretty,
have a
this is pretty
platform
elaborate.
here, like this platform is sitting inside of there.
Got ya?
So it's mounted there, and then there's those parts that we saw that were being machined on the Doosan, those flat parts, that's what goes on the bottom, and that bolts into the frame. And so you're kind of holding it here, and you're forcing this part down, and that's what changes the strain gauge and gives you different...
That's interesting.
Yeah. So our testers are they do things that like your regular tester doesn't do, like deflection compensation. As you push this down, it actually changes the dimension. And so our stuff is calibrated to compensate for that stuff. So whereas some of the cheaper stuff doesn't do that stuff. So that's something that sets our stuff above a lot of others. This is another tester. This is an automated tester here. So
No, who obviously you say like these are for engine stuff, more related, but who or what would be a situation where they would have a tester like this that you don't need to do heavy springs, because you said it was virtually...
Like a transmission spring would be a great example. Somebody building valve bodies, or a lot of automotive industry stuff. So, and there's springs in countless mechanical objects, including even like we do a spring tester that tests springs that go inside of heart valves. So that's a very, very critical thing. And
I would
so
imagine, right?
We built a tester that can deal with that. So that's something that's kind of a neat thing, actually.
Medical field type of deal.
What happens is, this is what I was talking about, that heart valve type thing.
Yep.
This is a tension tester. So I usually use the example of a garage spring. It's a twisting type spring, so that's called a torsion spring. And so this is a tester that we have a patent on the torsion side of it. So you can drive this, and then this is the sensing side, and that's, you can put different types of load cells in that.
Interesting.
Something else you guys might find interesting is we have any here. Well, this is one. This is a torque wrench calibrating tool that we make. So you actually put a torque wrench in here. The square fits the socket end of the torque wrench, and then you can twist this thing, and it will check the tension of the torque wrench to make sure your torque wrench is calibrated.
So you'll be having
That on the race trailer, so people can bring their torque wrenches, come by
on
and
over.
you get them
calibrated.
Absolutely.
$29.95
Yeah.
for each.
Torque
We
wrench calibration.
actually do a torque wrench service. Like if you bring your torque wrench in here, we can actually calibrate. It's one of the few things we do. So yeah, these are different levels of hand testers, and some of them
Something people didn't know
different
they needed.
weights. Yeah. So this is like a maximum of 11 pounds, so it's very light. So you can see that the force goes down to 3 digits over, and you just so much as touch it, and it's...
See that? You're telling me that aluminum block that you showed us over there, that
Yes.
moves?
So
That moves by touching it.
That's a stainless steel one. That's a heavy duty. That's a 1,500 pound load cell. So the smaller, the lighter the load cells get, and the thinner wall thickness, so that they move easier.
So this piece would be made much smaller and lighter duty. Like you could bend it up.
Oh, you can easily break it because it's a maximum of 11 pounds. So if you put
So you were
20
talking,
pounds on it, you're going to break it.
Like I'm not really touching that, right?
Yeah.
So right there, we're barely at a pound.
Yeah. So like the heart valve one that we did, it's a maximum of 0.3 inch pounds. maximum.
0.3 inch pounds.
Yeah, that's the maximum. So it'll actually read like 6 or 7 decimal places out.
Wow.
In inch pounds. So it's you can get very, very precise with this stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Different we do some electronic assembly in that room. So a lot of the boards and stuff we actually assemble here, wire everything here. Yeah, this is actually a spring from the train industry. That's one thing that larger Flash 36 that we looked at.
Is this a torsion spring then?
That one is, yep.
So that machine would put it in here and it would twist this to
Yep.
a certain.
And these are fixtures that are already built to just bolt into our device. So this is a fixture built to test this.
So if the spring didn't test to the standard it was supposed to be, do they have to re-engineer the spring?
So some of this has worked in engineering when they're trying to design a spring. So a lot of stuff comes off of coilers and stuff in the industry, and when they wind the spring, then they're going to come over, bring it to a tester, and decide whether it's working or not. And then they can modify the spring engineering to get what they want out of it. But then also, as this stuff's going on through the assembly line, and they're just making hundreds or thousands of them, they're going to do inspection checks like we do inspection on our stuff. So they're going to bring it in, check it, good, bad.
Evaluate it, whether
and they can make little modifications to their machine, or they sometimes can rework. You can kind of grind a spring to change so.
Keep changing the integrity of
Another
parts
thing,
of it.
like in the valve spring testing world, especially, batching springs to be the same is really important. A lot of companies want to be within 5% of the rest of the set. So if you buy a set of 16 valve springs for a big block Chevy, they'll actually run it through one of our automated testers, and they're going to group those springs together.
So as long as they're within, like you say, the 5%, then that deems it a set.
And
You may have a completely different reading, but it's these 16 are
yeah,
within tolerance.
different spring manufacturers require different. So one might be 5%, one might be 10%, but that's the idea.
Gotcha. Cool.
This is
really nice.
there's 23 pallets that go with this one job, so it's 120-ish kennels.
Now, how long would it take you guys to build 120 kennels start to finish? I mean, are we talking months, or are we talking like weeks or days?
It's a process. So you bring material in, you cut it, you machine it. So our process is usually 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, but I mean a realistic
You put
time.
an order in. It's all custom. So it actually goes through our engineering division first, and they engineer it for your needs.
And
then-
most people looking for stuff on that level are okay with all that, I would imagine.
Yeah, when they get to that level, and usually they're in the building process, so they've got a design building. They know they got to fill with kennels, so they've got time before the building's finished.
Right.
Some of the other things are different, but yeah.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate your time
Yeah.
today. Thanks for walking us through what you do. Matt Cheney, look for him on the track this year. He's going to be dominating.
Domination.
He's getting that car all straightened out.